In 2013, I made the most important decision of my life that changed the trajectory of my life. I packed my bags, left a very secure job, and moved to Asia after a very traumatic and failed attempt to move to New York City. And here are three things that happened because I took that leap, and why I encourage every single person to who feels a call towards something to go for it, even when it scares the bejesus out of you. You got to trust it, you got to follow it, because if it's calling you, there's a reason. I could have never imagined that Asia would be, and specifically Shanghai, where I lived for close to 10 years, would be the place where I would feel the most at home, where I would find home. And I'm not just talking about feeling at home. You know, when you land in a place and you're like, there's something familiar or there's something feels special, it feels different in a good way. And you can see yourself living there. You can truly see yourself spending a chapter or more of your life there. It was something I could feel instantly. By day three, I didn't know. When I left, I was like, maybe I will stay 3 months or so, because the first 3 days it was quite a cultural and it was quite a shock. Uh, Many websites were not, I couldn't access many websites because of restrictions. English wasn't very used at the time. There were many things that were a bit harder to navigate, like daily tasks in your daily life. But by day three, I was like, I could easily see myself living here for the next 5 years, and they ended up being 10. So I never could have planned like moving there. Life brought me there. Actually, my plan was to go and move and live and go work in the States. It did not happen. And universe was like, not this. I've got something better. I've actually got, like, it was pointing me towards the thing I didn't know was meant for me. And I had no idea Asia, because in those 10 years I traveled across Southeast Asia, was the place where everything will fall into place, where all the dots would connect. So that's why I'm such a big proponent of taking the leap anytime you feel the call. It's your responsibility to take that leap. And why I speak about courage and confidence and trusting yourself. So, reason number one, it literally healed my nervous system because it restored my sense of belonging, of trust, of safety. There's such, my experience is more intimately detailed in Shanghai because that's where I've lived for so long. But across Southeast Asia, even traveling as a solo female, and sometimes with my partner too, but experiencing many travels alone by myself and enjoying solo traveling and always feeling safe, that was something pretty new to me. Even in Europe, there are many places, many main cities where I still, at the time and still today, wouldn't feel safe going out by myself after a certain time of the day or in certain areas. And in Shanghai, I've never experienced anything like that. I've always felt safe, whether it was 4 a.m. in the morning and I was out literally in my PJs, because that's very common, you can see people walking in their PJs at night or even during the day, and it's no big deal. And nobody's really paying attention to you. There was such a sense of safety, and embedded in that sense of safety, a sense of freedom to be yourself fully. Like, no judgment, no one cares. No one's paying attention to you. But I'm saying this as a in a nice way because in that freedom to show up as I wanted, I found like safety to be myself fully. And it was absolutely what my nervous system needed. It was the thing I didn't know I needed. Often when we are, one thing I did know, and it was that growing up in Italy, I've always had this urge, inner urge, this need to get out of there as soon as I could. I did not feel it felt too small, it felt too constraining, it felt I never really found belonging. Of course, aside from my very small family circle, here's another way to put it. It was a sense of the environment being too small, and at the same time, me wanting to see the world and experience something greater, something bigger. And for me, that bigger was freedom, was meeting other people, other creatives, other travelers who had experiences abroad and who's people with lives that were more interesting, people I could learn from. And living abroad, I think it's such a gift that enriches your life, expands your life. It's like you're living many lives within your your main one, your core one. And so that's reason number one. It literally for how safe the people, the culture, the welcoming in various Asian countries, most of them, all of them, I can say, all the ones I've traveled to, I've had a very positive, enjoyable experience and felt extremely safe traveling to some of my favorite places. I will definitely mention Indonesia, Bali, especially it's the one I visited most often. Thailand, of course, and Japan. These are like probably my three favorite spots and where I've always felt extremely safe traveling. And it just, yeah, it heals your nervous system in ways you didn't know it was possible and you didn't know you needed. So this is reason number one. Reason number two, in Shanghai, I actually met my partner and soulmate. Here we are 10 years later, still growing, still maturing, still thriving together. And it's been such a journey, and you cannot plan this. There were there was no way I could have known. Like, oh, okay, I'll move in 2013, I'll move to Shanghai because 2 years later I'll be meeting my soulmate. No way. You cannot plan it. So reason number two, I tell people to take the leap is because if something's calling you, you don't know who or what is waiting for you on the other side of that scary leap. But if it's calling you, go for it. We met. It was the opening of a rooftop bar on the Bund. It was the main street along the main river in Shanghai. And we had friends in common, and that's how we met. And it's so funny because at the time I wasn't even actively searching for a life partner. I was, in my single years, I wasn't actively looking. Of course, it was welcome, but I wasn't actively looking. And so that's another way that universe, when it said, not this way, this way. It had so much that was meant for me on the other side. And I'm so glad. That's why I say it changed the trajectory of my life because it wasn't something I planned. It wasn't something I planned. What I planned was going to the States. It didn't go according to my plan because universe, God, spirit had better plans for me. So there is a part of surrender in taking the leap, surrender to the calling, surrender to a plan that goes wrong or not the way you wanted, you thought you wanted. Because if I look back, of course it was painful because at the time it felt like my dream had been crushed, literally. I was like, okay, what do I do now? I I thought like this is the goal I was pursuing and now it's gone. I felt like I was completely heartbroken. But now when I look back, I'm like, thank God that mega bump along the road um, was there for me to detour and actually get on the right path, get on the path that makes me feel so grateful for my life and how things have turned out. So, lesson number three, I Asia is where I started to really mm, really dive deeper into first yoga and then Reiki, so more spiritual, holistic traditions, a little bit of Ayurveda, a little bit of Chinese medicine, and an Eastern approach to the body as a whole and the spirit and how everything is connected and the chakra system and all of that. And I really took a deep dive into that for years. I trained as a yoga teacher. I taught yoga for a while, and then I started getting into coaching one-on-one and embodiment and nonlinear movement and nervous system regulation, somatic practices, and everything connected to building your bigger life, to taking up space, to help women stop hiding and actually go and build the thing you know you're here to build and go live the life you're here. You know you're meant for. You know it. A part of you already knows it. That's why I always talk about taking that leap. So, reason number three is that the clarity, the ease, the freedom, the more, whatever more you are after, whatever is the more you are craving, it will meet you on the other side of the leap. It will meet you after the leap, not before. You cannot plan for it. And taking the leap and finding myself living in Asia for that long, it sharpened my purpose. It helped me get obsessively clear and anchored in my purpose in ways I could have never imagined. And this is just three of the main lessons. But there's so much more I'm grateful for. But these are I would say, the mega three that just blow my mind. And yeah, I hope this video sparks something within you. The something is already there. I hope maybe it gives you that extra nudge you need to take your leap. And if you don't know, my name is Marina. I make videos every day to remind you that the life you're here for, the life you desire, the life you crave, the life of more freedom, more fulfillment is just one leap of courage away. Thank you so much for watching. If this video landed, let me know in the comments. Give it a like, comment below, follow along for the journey, and I will see you tomorrow.